Hello and welcome or welcome back to the What is K-pop podcast, in which I, your host Sophie, talk all things K-pop. Or used to talk all things K-pop and now just talks about whatever she wants to talk about. If you saw my episode on Christmas Eve, I talked about the Pussycat Dolls, and today, well, actually, it's not even been released, so I do hope it's done well. It's the 22nd today, but this is going out on the 27th, and I thought I'd do another retrospective on all of the stuff that I feel is important that happened in K-pop. Now, I do just want to clarify that, well, it's all the stuff that happened in K-pop, good albums that I feel like came out this year, good songs that came out, groups that have disbanded, groups that debuted. Now, if you don't hear the events that you want to hear on this episode, I'm sorry, but I didn't think they were significant enough for me to include. If you don't see the albums that, or hear the albums that you think deserve to be mentioned, I'm sorry, I didn't think they were impactful. If you don't hear the songs, sorry. If you don't hear the groups that have disbanded, again, I'm sorry. It's just basically my opinion, and I kind of wanted to do like a run through of the entire year, but then I was like, I'm tired and I don't want to do that. And I was talking to my sister actually and about this, and I said like, oh, I'm gonna do like an episode on all the things that have happened this year. Like, can you think of anything that's happened? And she was like, no, but I think you should do like the songs that you've liked that have come out this year, and like the artists and like groups that you want to like see like do more. And I was like, fair enough, I will do that, Bexy. So yeah, I've got 29 things because I couldn't think of 30. Well, actually, a couple of them I should put in there. One or two of them I can't actually really talk about because I don't remember too well. But yeah, we're just gonna run through them, and we're just gonna like talk a little bit about them and just like, talk. We're just gonna just spot everywhere. We're just gonna have a nice little chat because it's Christmas time and I want to, okay? This is my podcast, I can talk about it if I want to. Okay, so Lisa from Blackpink came back with Rockstar, then she released New Woman and Moonlit Floor. She has since released, it has since been announced. I didn't want to include it in this, but it's since been I can't speak, bloody hell. It has since been announced that she will be releasing Alter Ego on the 28th of February next year. So I didn't want to put it in here, but those 3 songs are going to be on it, and 9 more songs are going to be released with the album. And I think, in terms of my own opinion, that it goes Moonlit Floor, Rockstar, New Woman. I didn't really like New Woman. Like, if I'm going to be honest, I didn't really like New Woman because of Rosalia's part in it. I felt it like Major League slowed it down, like the song down a lot. And also the music video really confused the shit out of me. But yeah, I mean, like, a lot of people quite like the fact that Lisa had Rosalia on there, just so that they, because I don't think it's very common to have Spanish, Rosalia. Yeah, Spanish. You can tell I'm tired. Spanish artists on K-pop stuff, or not K-pop. Well, it is still kind of K-pop because it's under K-pop in nature. Anyway, we don't really see that sort of stuff involved with each other. So Rosalia, if you didn't know, she was born in Sant Cugat del Valalis in Catalonia, Spain. I'm so sorry that I mispronounced that because I know for a fact I did. She is 32. And I mean, it was a nice song and I listened to it a good few times, but it isn't my favourite song from Lisa so far. And then obviously we have Rockstar. Loved that. I didn't fully understand it the first few times, but now I get it. I love it. I stan. And there was actually, before Moonlit Floor came out, Lisa performed at, was it the AMAs? The American Music Awards? Something in America. And the performance went supposedly very bad just because of the way that the sound production was done, because unfortunately in a lot of these performances, artists tend to lip sync. But Lisa was actually performing, and yeah, honestly, I really liked the performance, and I read the comments And it said, like, if you were there, you could hear, like, if you watched the fan cams of the event, her mic was on. And I have no reason to doubt that. But yeah, no, she seems to be doing all right. And yeah, I'm really proud of her. And obviously, Moonlit Floor came out, and it is speculated that she wrote that about her boyfriend, Frederick Arnold, who I was like talking to my dad about it, and he was like, oh yeah, the Arnold family. And I was like, you know this? Like, you're aware of who these people are? He was like, yeah, Sophie, I'm like 67. I know these things. I'm like, but you don't dress fancy. He was like, well, it doesn't mean I can't know about it. Fair enough, I'll just shut the fuck up then. But no, it's interesting because, like, I didn't know that a lot of these companies, businesses and stuff are owned by the same, like, dome. Like, my brain does not like to sleep. And I like said that, I went through to my mum when she was in the bathroom, like, cleaning her teeth. I was like, I can't sleep, mum. And she was like, well, you are 21 now. Like, it's probably makes sense that, like, you can't, that, like, you don't need as much sleep anymore. And I was like, what? I literally went there. I was like, what are you talking about? And she was like, oh, don't worry. Like, I'll put you back to bed. Because apparently I need to be, granted, I did ask her to took me back into bed, so she did it. And she was like, don't worry, you'll be able to sleep now that me and Dad are going to bed. And so I go to sleep, and I'm just sort of like drifting, when like you typically go through many REM sleep cycles. So I must have been coming up towards when, you're in your wake-ish period of sleep. Like you go in and out of like being, REM sleep is like when you dream or something. And so I was around about that time at 1:30 this morning. And my parents didn't know this, but Petal was not outside. And so, I kid you not, 1:30 in the morning, I feel just this thing like jump up onto me. I like fully wake up, I shout, what the fuck? My dad like turns on his light. He's worried. He thinks that like something's happened to me. And there's Petal in front of his bedroom door being like, and like he puts two and two together. It's like, shit, Petal just tries to jump on Sophie when she's sleeping. And so he takes Petal downstairs. And I'm just like in bed, like internally freaking out. Because I'm like, holy shit. I've just been woken up by the cat jumping onto me. And so he takes her downstairs and like makes sure she's alright. And I just like sort of not put myself back to bed again, but I just sort of kind of am laying there and I'm like, I don't feel well now. And so my mum is like, she like calls down to my dad and is like, you alright, Pete? You sick or something? And he's like, oh no, Petal just jumped on Sophie. And so she just goes back to bed. My dad comes back up and he's like, you alright? And I'm like, yeah, fine. And he's like, oh yeah, by the way, you were snoring or you were making noises in the night anyway. And so I was like, okay. So I just go back to bed and I wake up at 5:30 and I'm like, I'm too tired for this shit. So I went back to sleep again for another 2 hours. And obviously I apologised to Petal and stuff, but it was just so unbelievably weird because like I was dead ass asleep, like dead asleep. And the cat just jumps on top of me and I'm like, I don't even know how to even go about my day now because I'm like, the fuck happened? Like, what? I don't understand. So we've been cackling about that all together pretty much the entire day. And I have a bit more information about Frederick Arnold. So his dad owns, well not owns, but is the CEO and a chairman and the largest shareholder of LVMH, which basically stands for LVMH Hennessy Louis Vuitton, which is a European multinational holding company and conglomerate that specialises in luxury goods and has its headquarters in France. That's coming from the Wikipedia page. Bernard Arnault, which is Frederick's father, or grandfather is the chairman, CEO, and largest shareholder of the company, making him one of the richest people in the world as of this year, 2024. And I'm not even that surprised. So Frederick is, and I'm like, dang, son, I'm being granted. Like, Frederick is only 8 years older than me. His dad is only 9 years older than my own dad. So we kind of grew up with similar ages of dads, which is the weirdest flex ever. But you know what? I'm gonna take it. And there's not much I can flex about in my own life, so we are going to flex that. Onto my next little thing that happened this year. Jenny came back. Jenny made a return with Mantra, or however you want to say it. And I love the song. It is amazing. That Pretty Girl Mantra, just that Florence just touched on early. Like, we love that. Probably didn't say that lyric right, but we stand. And she performed it on a couple of music shows, on Jimmy Kimmel and all of that jazz. So obviously Lisa isn't doing any like Korean really promotions. She's more focusing on the West and international promotions. She's got a foundation in Korea. She is doing a little bit of stuff outside, but Rose is has come back with an entire album called Rosie, and I'm trying to remember if she's done a few Korean promotions, but she really heavily went in with the Western, like the little YouTube videos that happened with, obviously, when she came out with with Bruno Mars. And yeah, no, she was kind of on the promotional circuit for a good few weeks until she came back with Rosie, released a couple of pre-releases pardon me, and now pretty much I've not really seen much else from her since the album's release, but maybe it's because of the fact that like I don't really search it out. But that is what has happened with Blackpink in music terms. Obviously we have Lisa. She's making her acting debut in The White Lotus next year. Obviously Jenny did The Idol. Was it this year or was it last year? I honest to God cannot remember. I remember when it was announced and I was like, oh, I'm gonna watch it. Then it came out and everyone was like, this is the most disgusting show I've ever watched. So now I'm not gonna watch it. And Rosie obviously only does acting in her music videos, fair enough. And Jisoo is pretty much just gone straight back into acting because she did Snowdrop under YG and maybe another thing, but I don't know. So yeah, that was Blackpink. Hopefully they're going to come back next year with a world tour and an album. However, Lisa did say that she didn't know that they would be coming back, which I'm like, that is not good. Next thing I wanted to talk about was Sunghan from Rise, formerly from Rise, I should say. And this whole situation has genuinely made me so upset that I can't listen to Rise anymore. I can't do it, especially Impossible. I cannot listen to that song. I'm sorry, but like, I'm not gonna be listening to Rise anymore of Rise. It is, honest to God, so upsetting to me that this whole situation played out the way that it played out. Because the thing is that Sunghan really truly was just living his life pre-debut. And I get that netizens in Korea don't like the idea of idols having like smoking and going out to parties and having girlfriends and stuff pre-debut, or even like post-debut when they're idols. But I'm like, these people do deserve to have lives and stuff, and we shouldn't be hating on these people for making that decision. But at the end of the day, companies will always focus on the domestic market first, and if it means that Sunghan doesn't come back to Rise, then I guess, that's the situation. But we do know that Sunghan is making his solo debut next year, which is some what's it called? What's that? Like benefit, or isn't totally shite, but it just shows that K-pop will always be focused on how to make the Korean public love them, like support groups, which is upsetting, considering how much people in the West might want Suncan to come back. Suncan, if you are listening to this, first of all, why are you listening to a Ratchet podcast? But second of all, I really do hope that you enjoy your solo work and that you are able to at least connect again with your members. You really did well in Rise for those few months that you were a part of it. So yeah, thank you for doing that. Next situation, New Jeans. So first off, firstly, Eyelit was copying New Jeans. Then it was like, no, it wasn't even that. Hybe wanted to do an audit on Adore. Adore's CEO Min Hee-jin makes a press conference, doesn't even address the stuff that Hybe has been saying that Eyelit are copying New. This is what I think. This is what I remember. Eyelit are copying New Jeans. This massive issue. Bang PD apparently sent like really snarky text and was like, "Are you happy now that like New Jeans are doing well?" And that like Min Hee-jin wanted apparently to steal Adore away from Hybe, get them to sell their shares to Adore to Min Hee-jin. But like Min Hee-jin she got money from Hybe to buy the shares in Adore in the first place. Min Hee-jin at the time was the highest earning CEO of the entire company, and like I'm not a company stan. I've never been a company stan. I'm also not a company hater. I just don't care enough. I do not give enough shits to even care about that sort of stuff. Like, you're not exactly paint yourself in the best light right now, but I'm also not gonna like say that I hate your ass because you did make BTS and like TXT and LE SSERAFIM and groups that we love. So while I don't condone half of what you're doing, I'm not going to tell you don't do it because I don't know the ins and outs of business. I might have done 2 qualifications in it now, but actually no I haven't, but you get the point. I'm not going to tell you what to do and what not to do with your groups. And basically, over the past couple of months, it's all culminated into New Jeans no longer wanting to be under Adore, and so they unanimously terminated their contract. You can hear the air quotes around that. So I'm like, you can't just say that you've terminated your contract. I'm sorry, but that's not how that stuff works. You have to go through a legal process to say that like you want to leave. You have to give reasons for your departure. You have to do it legally. And now Adore is just like done the weirdest thing ever, and then I'm just like, I'm not even surprised. I'm just kind of like, okay, whatever. That's a weird flex to give. That like you're looking into making sure that Hanny's visa is extended. I'm like, that you didn't have to tell us that, but like, thanks for letting us know. It's just a really weird thing to say. Like, honest to God, when I saw it, I was just like, that's cool, and like. So many people were like, why are you telling us this? It's like, well, because they legally can. They are actually able to talk about these groups. Quite a few netizens are also kicking off about the fact that they keep on posting about New Jeans' activities, and like quite a few bunnies are even saying, like their fans are even saying like, oh my god, thank you for supporting our solo independent artists, Danielle. And I'm like, technically, they haven't legally left Adore yet. Like, you can't just say, we've left, and that's it. Like, you do actually have to submit stuff to say that you've left, or that you have intentions of leaving. You can't just say that, I don't like it here, I'm gonna leave. But, yeah, I'm not gonna say any more about that situation unless something dramatic happens, like I don't know, a lawsuit is filed against them or something. I don't know. So these 2 next points kind of go hand in hand. I love how we're 23 minutes in and I've only done 5 points. Holy shit. The new 50/50 members debuted and the old 50/50 members are trying to re-debut. So I actually just listened to the performance of Cupid with the 5 members, and it actually sounds really nice. I actually like it. And I really am supporting the new 50/50, I don't obviously think that any K-pop idol should be mistreated, but I am kind of a bit unsure about whether or not the company was as bad as the girls, the old 50/50 members, are saying. Obviously, I don't know about whether or not they I'm not them, I can't really speak on their trauma. It's like if you heard about what happened with me in school and was like, that's not traumatic. Like, I'm not saying that it's traumatic, I'm just saying it's bad. But like, we can't comment on other people's situations. We only have to take it at face value. And, I support the new 50/50 members, and I don't care for the old 50/50 members because, I never really cared for them in the first place. But if they want to carry on making music and be under a Bloom, which is the new group name, hopefully, then I guess you do you, boo, you do you. Like, I'm still gonna do me, I'm still gonna listen to the songs I want to listen to. But yeah, don't send hate to anyone. Everyone, unless you've done something illegal, which we will get onto in a minute, you have my full support, in every endeavour that you do, unless you are a horrible person. But we will get onto that. Next thing that I wanted to talk about is Lucas made his solo debut, yay, with Renegade. And I will admit, I hate the song. I hate it. But I don't think it was really Lucas's fault. I think SM was just like, we're gonna give you this song and it's gonna be funny because you ruined things and we're gonna make you perform it and you can't say no. I don't know, I guess I'm imagining that's what SM said. We don't know. I can imagine it as well. Makes it funnier. It was like, fine, whatever. It didn't do too well, but he is making his comeback soon. And on the same vein, actually, know what I'm going to do, what I'm talking about. On the same vein, Tail, or Jail now, should be called. He's a dick. I'm sorry, he's a dick. Because it's one thing to be accused of stealing your girlfriend's money and manipulating your girlfriend and doing all of these things to your partners and potentially being gay and having a relationship with a guy and like doing stuff, the same sort of stuff with them and like manipulating people and doing all of that stuff that Lucas might have done, even though it's proved otherwise. They weren't police. Police weren't involved in those situations because why would they be? They're not really like accusations. They weren't made legal. They weren't police worthy. They weren't ever brought to the police. They were said on Twitter. Twitter blew them up, and Lucas had to go away for 2 years and just like wait in the shadows. He's still able to have a career because he didn't do anything illegal. However, I have no sympathy for Tail because you know what? As soon as the police gets involved in a situation, I instantly am like bombastic side-eye to whatever it is that you've done. The fact that the police were instantly involved in the case from at least what we saw initially in the media in August, it must have been a very serious accusation. And that's why as soon as I heard it, I was like, I believe this because it's the police. You can't really deny the fact that the police are involved. The police has evidence to believe that Tail has done this stuff, is questioning him, and has basically gotten enough evidence for SM to be to kick him out of the group and remove him from the agency. So I'm sorry, these accusations might be proven false. He's still a horrible person. I don't know. If it does come out that it's not true, then I guess you can come back if you want to. But it's when you go so far enough for when something goes that far enough for the police to be involved, I'm like, there must be validity in what is being said. And the fact that SM then went straight into being like, he's gone, then clearly there is truth to whatever's being said. So, yeah. I hope that Tail has fun in prison. No. I also didn't know this, but he was actually meant to enlist in the military, like around about this time of the year. Like if obviously the accusations didn't happen, he wasn't being investigated by the police, he would have enlisted into the military. And it wouldn't have surprised me if he was actually trying to enlist actively, just the same as Seungri did, to get away from his got all those wonderful issues with the Burning Sun scandal. So yeah, we'll definitely have to see how that pans out, and I will be talking about updates if they do come out further on down the line. Next point I'd like to talk about is Yoongi from BTS having a DUI scandal. Now, I will admit, my pitchfork was out, and I was ready to no longer stand BTS, but actually we did see the CCTV footage, and he didn't seem that drunk. I'm sure he probably just lost his balance on his motorcycle thingy and just, fell over. Also, the blood alcohol limit, he would be unconscious on the floor if he had that, even with different levels of alcohol tolerance. So unfortunately, he is left scot-free in the eyes of the media. He also paid his fine, and no one was hurt, and he's reflected on his actions. He's still enlisting in them, he's still serving, so I'm like, whatever. You're cleared in the eyes of the law, so there's nothing really else that we can do. And also, he's never going to leave BTS, so again, nothing that we can do. Next point is Suha. Moon Suha came back to Billie after her health hiatus after the death of her brother, and I hope she is doing much better. Astro have been really supporting her, and I love that. I love seeing it. And on the topic of Astro, Jinjin, he released a song on the first anniversary of Moonbin's passing with Moonbin's vocals. I do wonder how he was able to do that, whether or not it was through AI or if they just happened to be working on a song together and then he just decided to release it. But I don't know, I'd like to find out, but if he doesn't want to announce how he did it, then that's fine. Kang Daniel came back to the entertainment industry after the dissolvement of his company Connect Entertainment, and now he's under a new smaller company, but he seems to be doing much better. He said he found being the CEO of his company very stressful, so I do hope that he is feeling much better. And now onto the LE SSERAFIM hate train. I don't think they deserved as much hate as they got with the Coachella thing. Maybe it is just the pressure got to them. And I do feel sorry for them. It is very clear that putting people who are so young in their career on a stage as big as Coachella, it shouldn't have happened, and that they should have been more well prepared for it. And it isn't a criticism on HYBE or Source Music. It is just what it is, and I do feel bad for them and that they had to go through that, and all of the issues compounding together with Unchae and potentially disrespecting students, Sakura, her vocals often being criticized, Yunjin, her Starbucks cup scandal thing, the fact that they were being compared or talked about with Minhee Jin and stuff. Honestly, I feel bad for them, and I really do hope that they continue to do well in the industry. And also, I love their music, so yeah. And on the topic of the Minhee Jin stuff, their debut was massive, and I'm really looking forward to the rest of their career. They obviously made a comeback a couple of months ago with "I'll Cherish You," "Cherish My Love." Whatever the bloody thing was called. I don't think their comeback did as well. But again, that's fine. You can always build back up the stamina that you had at debut. It's all good. The concept is it reminds me gives me a lot of young teenagers just trying to, they're just experimenting with themselves. And obviously some of the members are a little bit older, and they will eventually grow out of that concept. You can still have fun. You can still be whimsy in your adult life. You can still have fun. And I don't think they're terribly similar to New Jeans, especially with their comeback. I don't think they were similar to New Jeans in the slightest, but I can see the similarities with obviously some aspects of their styling, but I feel because of the fact that a lot of that, like, because of the fact that they all had black hair, there were 5 of them, the fact that they were dressed, they were styled somewhat in a kind of similar way, it can appear to be that thing. But it seems like they have both had the same start points, but they've branched off into completely different things. And things are going to intertwine, obviously, with the fact that they are 5 members under the same company and they debuted relatively close together and like all of that stuff. Like, they are going to have some similarities, but I think that, you know, criticizing them for one release when, like, you should really assess things as like for a couple of years and say whether or not they're similar after that point would be better than just directly being like, they look like New Jeans. Because I'm like, well, I will admit, I will concede this. When I first saw them, I was like, New Jeans. I will admit I did do that myself, but that was just because of the fact that it was 5 members in like dark hair. That's where it was. And I was like, oh wait, no, it's not New Jeans, it's that new group, Underhive. So like, no, I see where it's coming from, but I don't think they're gonna end up anything alike further down the road. Speaking of Hybe, Jin and Hoseok from BTS, they both got discharged from the military this year. And Jin has been doing some really weird stuff, if I'm going to be honest. He was a torchbearer for the Olympics. He did like another Super Tuna video. He released his album. He's now got an alcohol brand. Trying to think of what else he's done. I'm really tired. I hate how like bad my memory is. He did a hug event in which, like, on BTS's anniversary, he literally the day after his return from the military, he did a hug event, and he's been doing all sorts of random stuff. And my sister actually sent me, and he was like, this is like the weirdest side quests I've ever seen. And I'm like, yeah, Jin's a really weird guy, but I also love that, you know, he just does whatever he wants to, and, you know, you gotta support that. We will just get back to Bangtan in a second, but Sana from Astro made his solo debut this year, and it actually took me a while to figure out that but like the music video for his title track was filmed in London. And I will admit, I was reading the words and I was like, I recognise that. That looks like London. And it was only because of like the street signs and stuff. So that's why. And also G-Dragon's Crooked is also filmed in London. So yeah. Bit of a sad one. Yeontan. Taehyung from BTS's dog unfortunately passed away not too long ago, but yeah, no, it's quite common. I love how I'm like, but, and then try and say everything to me. He has been a bit unwell. He's always been a bit unwell, and unfortunately Pomeranians don't tend to live for that long, but I'm sure Yeontan did have a wonderful life, and may he rest in peace. Okay, a bit more of a happier note. aespa made 2 comebacks with Supernova album with Armageddon as dual title tracks, and Whiplash on their 5th mini album. I will admit, and you can come for me in the comments if you want to, I will not be listening, I do not like Supernova or Whiplash. I love Armageddon, but Supernova and Whiplash, there's just some things about some songs that I'm just like, I don't gel with. And both those songs, I can't get on board. I love that people love Supernova and well, both the songs. I love that for you. If you love that song, go for it, you know. I fully support, you know, you do you find the stuff that you love in this world. I'm not going to tell you no. Those 2 songs just aren't for me, unfortunately. But I did enjoy Armageddon. I have been enjoying a few of the other tracks on their album. The Live My Life one, I've forgotten the title. And just, you know, we're more like listening to like older songs and stuff as opposed to the songs I've been making this year. Also, my parents just got back and it scared the living daylights out of me. So that's another family member who's just scared me. Cat's Eye, they made their debut and their documentary about their formation was released this year. I have said that I didn't really want to support Cat's Eye just because I thought that they just applied to the show and that they were going to be trained on the show. Not that they'd been training for years. But now that I've watched the documentary, I've watched behind the scenes, like the videos like Cat's Eye have released, pre-debut, and like all their music. I love them. I stand them. I want them to be so successful. And I really hope that Emily is successful. She did a few backing things for Adela, another one of the contestants, with her solo stuff, but I really do hope that Emily does well. And one thing I will say, and it is just just like a criticism that you can be like, why are you criticizing? I'm pleased that she didn't go in the group, because she would have had to have dimmed her light and not performed as well as she normally does, because of the fact that not everyone was on the same level as her. So I'm pleased that she didn't make the group, so that she can go off and be her talented self with people who are on the same dancing level as she is. Not to criticize the other girls, they dance just as amazingly, but Emily was always the most amazing dancer in terms of just being able to bring such an intense amount of energy. I feel like Daniela and Sophia would have, and maybe Yunche would have been able to do it, but honestly, Emily deserves to be able to be with dancers who are on the same level as her. So 2 from the same group, we have Yeonjun's solo debut and TXT announcing the long-term break. Yeonjun's solo debut, don't really like the song, but I have watched a few performances of it. It's got a certain je ne sais quoi to it that I'm not too big of a fan of, but it's a good song. And TXT's long break apparently is only going to be a month and a half, because TXT are going on tour in March. So I do hope that they have a good break, but I'm like, hi, why are you doing this? You could have let them have a break until April, but you know what? Here we are. And Dexmon's McNay Joe unfortunately left the group. It had been alleged that he was mistreated just due to a police report, but I'm not commenting too much on that because I don't know the specifics of the case. But if that is the reason why he left, then I do hope that he gets the justice he deserves. But if not, then I wish you all the best in your endeavours in the future. Big Ocean next. The first group full comprising of members who are hard of hearing, and I love their songs. I listen to them all the time, and I watch all their ASL and ISL performances. I know you said BSL, but I'm like, no, you don't do British Sign Language, like the sign language performances. I'm always watching them, and I really do like it, because I love watching the different signs for words in different styles of sign language. I find that so cool. And a group a little bit closer to home, Dear Alice, who is their first British K-pop kind of boy group under SM. One of the members is autistic, and I really love that, because unfortunately a lot of us, we can't really we don't really get to be successful. You see fringe cases of Extraordinary Attorney Ooh, she's really smart and clever and such, and she's able to still live her life with accommodations, but a lot of autistic people are kind of I've forgotten his name, the character that was obsessed with Ping Soo. Quite a few people are unfortunately like that, they're not really able to function in everyday society in the same way as neurotypicals are. So being able to see a representation of someone who is trying to be a part of a group and battling against some of the difficulties with autism is amazing, and I really do hope that they are successful, even if they do remind me Major League of One Direction and that all those boy bands. I really do hope that they are successful. I wouldn't wish not being successful on anyone. But yes, the Rose and the Seraphim, obviously they performed at Coachella, but we've not heard anything from the Rose since Coachella, so I'm please do come back with 80s. We've had Ice on the Teeth. Ice on My Teeth, isn't it? So yeah, no, they're doing all right. Obviously, LE SSERAFIM came back with not Smart. That was with the Easy comeback. What was that? Crazy. I like Crazy's album. I wish I got the Crazy album for my birthday, but I'm getting it for Christmas, so hopefully I do like it. And then Jonghan enlisted into the military this year, which was very, very sad, but you know what, it's going to happen at some point. Yeah, I've been talking for 50 minutes, so I will not force you to listen to any more of me. I do hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I will talk to you guys again very, very soon with good songs this year, groups have disbanded, albums, all that stuff. When would it be coming out? Oh yes, on New Year's Eve. So hope you enjoy that episode. Bye!